Imagine a world where anyone, at any time, can learn about any topic from the world's best teachers. Imagine a textbook that is interactive and immediately tests students' retention of the material they just learned. Imagine a country where anyone can create and share knowledge just as easily as they can upload home videos. Imagine an online forum where high schoolers can gather to share knowledge rather than gossip. Hi, I'm Elliot Rapp, founder of Cube Knowledge and Qcards.me. Today I'm going to tell you about Qcards. If I've done my job right, in 10 minutes you'll agree with me that we're about to undergo a revolutionary shift in education. After changing the way we read news, watch video, and share with friends, we're finally about to change the way that instructors teach and students learn. Before we look at the software, it's important to understand two critical concepts in education: the testing effect and spaced repetition. Much of the exciting research behind these concepts has come out of the field of cognitive psychology in the last few years. Traditionally, instructors have thought of testing as a tool to assess students' knowledge. In reality, the testing effect shows us that testing also enhances learning tremendously. In fact, research shows that given a block of time, students learn significantly more in the long run if they are tested on the material than if they study it, even if the answers are not provided. However, we do not want to replace classroom time with testing. Qcards allow students to utilize the testing effect for self-study. Spaced repetition is another critical concept. We begin forgetting the moment we've learned something. Review is essential. However, we do not want to review too often, sacrificing other learning, nor too infrequently, requiring costly relearning. Tutor mode helps students find their own optimum time interval.
Start by looking at the desktop software Cube Knowledge, now in its 4th major version release. The Home tab is our dashboard or control panel. It shows us all of our notes and study material organized by subject. Expand a subject to see the Q books inside. On the Create tab, we create Qcards. You'll immediately see that students are encouraged to take their notes in a challenge response or Qcard format. Here I've created a basic Qcard with a front, a back, tabs for additional information, and some notes. We can submit the Qcard to the Geography Qbook. This takes us to the View tab. Here we're asked to name the capital of the state of Michigan. We can either write out our answer on a piece of scratch paper or click on the scratch pad and type it in. We can then check our answer by flipping the Qcard over. We can mark our answer right, wrong, or mark the card learned. We can click on the tabs for additional information. We can click on Notes for additional context. Next, let's go to the Manage tab, where we manage our Qbooks. We select a Qbook, we can select multiple cards, and drag and drop to change the order. Or we can set flags, change the categorization, mark them as learned, delete, search for a specific term, or move or copy to other Qbooks. Let's take another look at the Create tab. By clicking on this button, I can move to the tutorial card format. Tutorial cards are just like a page out of a book and provide the flexibility for Qcards to support learning material as simple as flashcards all the way up to a full-fledged textbook. Returning to the Home tab, simply double-click a Qbook to create a study session. In this example, you'll see how the Qcard format is flexible enough to support textbooks. We start with the title page, including a description and a table of contents. Next, a section header. Then several tutorial cards introducing information. These are followed by Qcards to immediately test students' retention of the material. Suddenly we realize we have an anatomy test tomorrow, so let's save our spot by pausing the session and return to the Home tab. Now let's see how to efficiently target our review session for tomorrow's test. First, let's enter tutor mode. This mode schedules Qcards for review according to the principles of spaced repetition. In the anatomy abdomen deck, we can see that we have 51 cards due for review out of 80 total. Qbooks are highlighted according to the proportion of cards that are due for review. For our study session, we can select multiple Qbooks. Here are basic session design parameters. Or we can enter the Advanced Session Design dialog box and specify exactly the parameters to select the high-yield material we wish to study. Clicking OK creates our study session. We can proceed through the session just as before. We can open Session Stats and Qcard Stats to monitor our progress. Pausing the session takes us back to the Home tab.
Naturally, the desktop application and the website work seamlessly together. Any changes to Qcards on the desktop automatically sync to the website, and vice versa. No matter where a student finds herself, she can always access her Qcards from her tablet, mobile phone, or computer.
Heading over to Qcards.me, let's log in as a new user. In this case, the Commons area is empty because I have not yet joined any communities. Let's fix that by joining a school, in this example, the University of Washington School of Medicine, class of 2016. Now I can return to Commons, see all of the recent news posted by my classmates. I recall that I wanted some help with the upcoming cardiac module and exam, so I joined the study group. Now I can see all of the Q books shared by my new study partners. I also recall that I had a question about today's class notes, which I posted to the group. Now let's log in as Krista to see her view. In Commons, she sees that I have joined her study group. She sees that I post a question and post a response. Now let's look at Krista's Q books. She has 3 Q books. We'll take a look at Hard EKG. We see that there are several ways to view a Q book. We can view all cards, including tutorial cards, by resuming where Krista left off. Or we can view Qcards only, which creates a study session in order, shuffle, by difficulty, or by views. Here are all the Qcards in the Q book. We can also randomly jump to a different point in the Q book. Let's take a look at card number 6. Here we have the front of the Q card and the back. Just as in the desktop application, clicking on the back flips the card over. We can select the mnemonic tab to see the mnemonic. We can mark it wrong, learned, or right. Let's mark it right and advance to the next Q card. Now in the desktop application, we saw how images can be embedded in the Q card. Let's take a look at card 29 to see how they can be attached. In this case, we're asked to look at the attached image and make a diagnosis. We can hover over the image icon to see the image. After making the diagnosis, we flip the card over to check our work, and we can hover over the image attached to the back to see a specific explanation. Just as in the desktop application, Krista can create study sessions using the Tutor tab. Let's create a session with 25 cards that are due for review, shuffled randomly, and we'll select some Q books. We're now in a study session. Hovering over this icon indicates the name of the session. Just as in the desktop application, we can pause or delete the session. Let's pause and return to Commons.
The website makes it simple to share. Of course, the degree of sharing is always under users' control. By default, everyone shares with friends and study partners. Users can also specify they wish to share with classmates and schoolmates. Users can subscribe to Q books. The Qcards in these subscriptions are treated just as if they are yours, but the benefit is that you automatically get updates made by the author.
Now let's see how a professor would use Qcards. I'm logged in as Professor Smith, viewing the clinical pharmacology course. I already have several class readings assigned and a recent assignment. Let's add another class reading, Pharmacology Basics. Now let's assign it to all of the students. I'm going to switch browsers and log in as the student Alex. You'll see in Commons that we've alerted Alex that he has a new assignment. He's feeling very proactive, so he clicks on the assignment to get started. Just as with study sessions, I can hover and see my assignment and pause or mark the assignment as completed. Let's mark several cards right and wrong. Just one more. And we can switch back to Professor Smith's view and take a look at our assignment. We see in real time how the students are doing at completing the assignment. We can drill down to individual questions and see the proportion of students that got the question right and got it wrong.
I hope you've enjoyed this tour of Qcards.me and Cube Knowledge. Let's revolutionize learning together. Thank you.